Industrial metaverse. Yes, as the definition goes, it is a persistent, immersive, connected space where workers get together using the power of digital technologies and collaborative tools to design, build, operate, and optimize physical systems in a very sustainable fashion. To know more about the building blocks of industrial metaverse, watch this episode. Hi everyone, welcome to TGIF, another Friday, another episode. Before we get to industrial metaverse, let's reflect a bit on the core design thinking on the ground when it comes to metaverse in general. As Microsoft, we did surface clarity in terms of how we're looking at this field evolve in the foreseeable future, and we're going to have three swim lanes, if we can put it that way. Number one, consumer metaverse. Number two, commercial metaverse. And number three, industrial metaverse. Consumer metaverse is all about engaging consumers in a very immersive fashion when it comes to, let's say, retail, e-commerce, shopping experiences, or engaging consumers for a concert. So a lot of B2C use cases come under consumer metaverse. Commercial metaverse is absolutely about employee engagement. How do we bring people together in a very collaborative fashion where there is utmost focus on sense of belonging, bringing people together and making them productive in a very immersive and a cohesive fashion. Industrial metaverse, again a classic manifestation of Industry 4.0 thematic and the power of latest innovations coming together to make it real for enterprises. Now let us double click industrial metaverse to start with. Again, there are two patterns emerging here. Pattern number one, we're looking at a creation of a virtual asset which is the replica of physical existence of an asset, either it's a manufacturing plant, an operation or assembly line as an example. That's theme number one. That means you're basically creating a twin of the physical world in the virtual world. And number two, the genesis of that asset starts in the virtual space. That means there's no physical replica yet. That means the design thinking here is any asset that you want to build in the future, you start ideating, you start designing and building in the virtual space and optimize that particular asset to an extent that that becomes a gold standard for you to replicate or build in the physical world. That means all the ideation, design, optimization, any changes you want to do to that particular asset happens in the virtual space and nothing happens in the physical space yet because you're still in the process of optimizing it, making sure you perfect what you want to actually build in the physical world in the virtual world first, get to that accuracy or gold standard, and once you're happy with it, get to the creation of the same asset in the physical space. That means the twin happens in the physical space much later in the game. This is where sustainability takes center stage. That means you're not basically making, moving or creating anything in the physical world which will have an impact on your carbon emissions, right? When you operate in this fashion in the virtual space, which is a shared space, by that means workers can get together in a common shared, persistent, connected space to ideate on something, design something. I say persistence because end of the day, you're creating something meaningfully in the virtual space. And the activity or action has to be persisted across days, months and years. That means ideation happens, it moves to design, and even the construction for that matter. How does it actually look if we construct this in a physical space is first represented or manifested in the virtual space. And once everything is in space, you actually approve that to be created in the physical space. So these two are the fast emerging patterns and which helps industry significantly on this trail. If you look at the core technology building blocks, yes, we're talking about IoT becoming central to how this all happens in real time. Now, when it comes to representing a physical world in the virtual environment, you need to have an IoT fabric in place which constantly gives you information which is basically represented on the twin in the virtual world. That means when it comes to having real-time visibility on your supply chain operations or assessing risk in terms of what may happen to this plant depending on the way it's functioning right now, or looking at remote assistance, simulation and training. All these use cases can practically happen if you have the data estate in place and also making sure the data seamlessly navigates from physical to virtual, virtual to physical back. And of course, eventually it all manifests as the metaverse, which is a shared collaborative environment where you bring people together, ensure there is multi-user sync, ensure assets are persisted across, I would say, work sessions, and make sure that people have a sense of belonging. They can connect with each other in any cohesive fashion as if they are physically together. Now that's the future, that's Horizon 2, but as of now, Need of the hour is to ensure we have a connected assets in place, which gives us information. That means you'll be able to look at what happened in the past, which is dominantly descriptive statistics, eventually move towards predictive statistics in terms of what may happen in the future, and eventually prescriptive. That means if something happens as being predicted, what should be the action that one needs to take as you go along. Now, this is the world we're entering. In fact, a lot of our customers are already on the journey to make it a reality. Hence, my belief is when it comes to metaverse, industrial metaverse is a lot more real, and here and now, to make it practically possible for enterprises to thrive in the modern world. And finally, I'm going to leave behind an article which is a must-read, posted by one of our corporate leaders on the very topic of data-driven future of industries, which is industrial metaverse. With that, thanks for watching this episode. Have a wonderful Friday. Keep watching TGIF and have a great weekend ahead. Bye-bye.